Welcome to another episode of Director Review.
Right in my face. Thanks.
So we're doing a shorter episode today, mainly because we missed the day before. There's just been so much going on. It's been very difficult for us to breathe. So we took a moment. I think that's okay, right?
I think it's good self-care.
Yeah,
Take care of
do that.
yourself.
So, obviously, this is a Foreign Film Friday, and it's coming out on a Friday, and we're literally recording it on a Friday. So, it's the
Friday. Happy Friday.
It's literally the most Foreign Film Friday you've ever listened to.
Ever.
All right. So, this time, we are actually we watched a 2010 film that I originally watched, I think, in 2010, called Troll Hunter.
I was in high school.
I was not. Anyways, this is a Norwegian film, I believe, correct? Norwegian?
I believe so.
And okay, I believe so. Anyways, yeah, it says Norway.
Definitely a Scandinavian film.
A Scandinavian film.
I do love me some Scandinavian films.
They are surprisingly very good.
Surprisingly very good. Who'd
So,
have thunk?
this is a mockumentary about...
Or is it a mockumentary?
Or is it? About found footage that depicts these college students following a guy that they think is a poacher, and he ends up actually being the government's troll hunter. And he actually has to kill the trolls the government wants killed because they get out of their area, or has to find out what's going on with them. He basically is the cleaner of the situations.
Because, fun fact, Norway has trolls.
And trolls aren't small by any means. They can be up to 200 feet tall.
Very scary.
And let me tell you something. This film is awesome because, first off, as Americans, we don't have the Scandinavian folktales that they do, so we don't talk about trolls this way.
We have ghost stories.
Yeah.
They did hang out under bridges.
Yes, they did. And there were there were some similarities to the Grimm fairy tales, like they eat rocks and things like that, and they aren't very smart, but there were so many different types of trolls. They had all this specific details, like they only it takes 10 to 15 years to gestate a baby troll, and that the different ones, the ones that have more than one head, the other heads appear later on in life just to scare off other trolls,
or attract the ladies.
But it's super cool. I absolutely love this film. It's 2010, so obviously the graphics aren't as good as when I first saw them. Because when I first saw them, I was like, holy crap, that looks really realistic. And then I watch it just this last week, and I'm like, maybe not as realistic as I thought.
That was almost 10 years ago.
That was almost 10 years ago.
We've come a long way.
We have. So overall, this film is incredibly fun to watch. You're basically just following these college kids, and they make mistakes. One specifically being a Christian.
You can't be a Christian around trolls.
Yeah, they'll smell the blood of a Christian man and they will kill them.
Which is part of the folklore, correct?
Yeah, the folklore.
Not
a folklore.
Not the folklore. The forelord. Forelord.
Okay.
It's after work.
Anyways.
On a Friday. What do you want from me?
So, Celeste, was there anything in particular that you really liked about this film? I mean, the story was pretty damn intriguing.
It was intriguing. I liked the humanity of the troll hunter.
Right, yeah. He felt bad for massacring trolls.
He was like, this one time I had to do this troll massacre. I had to kill all the trolls, and some were babies. They couldn't even walk yet, and mothers, and he has a hard time sleeping at night, so he has a bunch of tanning lights around his...
he can't stand the dark.
Yeah, because he can't stand the dark, so he wears sunscreen in his, RV.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I like the humanity of the troll hunter.
And that's a good point to bring up, is the humanity of the troll hunter, but I also liked how the entire movie made you think that one of the college kids who had gotten attacked by a troll was either going to turn into a troll or he was going to die or something. And when they reveal what he actually has at the end, you're like, oh, so that was the whole reason the trolls were going crazy, was because of a particular disease, which, should we just say?
The trolls had rabies.
They had rabies. So they were going crazy and actually leaving their areas and attacking and killing people. And livestock and also like destroying everything. And the government had to keep making up stories, whether it was tornadoes or whatever.
Bears. Mostly bears.
Russian bears.
Lots of bears.
So there's not much to describe about this film simply because since it is a mockumentary, it's meant to shoot kind of funky and obviously not a steady camera. We already said the graphics are, almost 10 years old. But by the end, they actually get a new camera person.
She shot for the BBC.
And she was Muslim and she was incredibly good. And they set it up like she was a documentarian.
Yeah, those shots were gorgeous.
They were. By that point, I'm like, holy crap, that's really good cinematography.
And then I was like, is this real?
It really makes you think at that point, yeah.
Like you changed the style of filming based on when you got a new person.
So it's a lot of forethought by the creators of this film, that's for sure. Not to mention that they actually had at the very end a real clip that they kind of superimposed a little bit with one of the actors with the Prime Minister of Norway and his talking about how they have trolls.
He flat out said
Norway has trolls.
Norway has trolls.
So we need to take care of that.
So obviously the budget needs to be adjusted properly.
Which is hilarious. I thought that was a fantastic little ad.
I want to know what he was talking about.
I do too.
Like the trolls?
I don't even think he was saying trolls. I think he was saying something else, but they just imposed it.
Oh, got it.
I feel like that anyways, because why would he be talking about trolls?
Because, Leonard, the government doesn't want you to know that they have trolls.
That's the thing. It was a full-on conspiracy. Like it was a government conspiracy film, which is kind of awesome.
It was. They were like, oh, and this is how they do the bears. And, oh, look, we're making bear tracks.
And which, by the way, at one point, one of the college students who already knows that trolls exist is like, oh, are the bears walking cross-legged? Because the guy kept putting them on the wrong side. So that's just, yeah. No real major actors to point out here, obviously, mainly because they're Scandinavian actors, so we don't really know them. But more importantly, it's very indie, in my opinion. This is a very indie film. It goes through... The company credits, there are 45 company credits. That's how you know it's an indie film.
Shoot. But it did get 10 wins and 12 nominations.
It did. I can't remember if this is the one where they actually had to hide the people. No, I guess not. There is a movie. There's a movie where they did something similar, where they end up actually to hide the actors before and after the film so that it made it feel more real. Like they actually did get killed.
Oh.
So even though in the movie they don't get killed, right?
No.
Well, get taken or something. Something happens to them. We don't know. But anyways, there was one movie they did that. I can't remember if it was this one. I don't think it is. Now that I'm looking at the trivia, because I remember reading something somewhere about it. So yeah.
So good job. You went on a little rant for nothing.
I do that all the time. I do that at home.
Yes.
Unless I'm correct. Oh, all the way. Apparently, they are going to do a Netflix original series called Troll Hunters.
I thought they already did. No?
Oh, did they? I wonder if it has any connection.
I don't
Probably
know.
not.
The one on Netflix looks all mystically.
Mystically? What does that mean?
You know, he was holding a glowing orb. I usually think, that's mystical.
That is mystical, yes. All right. So, overall, great. I don't know. It was just a good movie. It's just a good, fun movie.
Oh, what I also loved about this movie is the Norwegian language.
Yes. Absolutely.
It just sounds like sounds.
Yeah.
It doesn't resemble any other language. It doesn't have its roots in like Greek or Latin. It's just its own thing.
I agree because I kind of love that. I love how it sounds. So being able to listen to the whole movie as they're talking and you're reading, obviously, the captions, but hearing them just speak is just awesome for me because it's just cool. I don't know. I like it.
Like, if you're listening to Spanish, you can pick up a few things there. Same thing with Italian. Like, they're all kind of similar. But then you have Norwegian.
Yeah.
officer, smirking, all the things like that.
Okay, so here, the film's final scene, a clip of the Norway Prime Minister, John Stolberg. He was speaking about an oil field outside of Norway called the Troll Field, which was edited to create the appearance that he admitted to the existence of trolls.
That's beautiful.
That's really smart. That's really, really smart.
Why do they have something named the Troll Field?
Because it's Norway and trolls are like literally everywhere. Because that's what they talk about.
Do you need some trolls with your trolls?
Like even, I mean, these are all cultural references to them. All these different trolls, even the way they looked from their folklore and fairy tales, like they really tried to make it look like it was a fairy tale troll, at least for a Norwegian fairy tale troll. Like it for us, it's a little different because our trolls tend to be smaller and weird.
And our trolls tell riddles. These trolls didn't even speak English.
Yeah, well, actually, one of the characters did bring that up. He's like, in all of the fairy tales, they usually talk like humans. Do they do that? And the guy was like, no, these guys are so dumb. I saw one of them try to eat one of its own tails and then go rolling down the hill. Like, that's...
Oh, the silly trolls.
That's something. But what I liked is they actually did, like, they separated the wood trolls from the mountain trolls, and then they actually showed you, like, this majorly massive troll that's supposed to be, like, 200 feet tall. Mm-hmm. I kind of felt like they could have done that one a little bit better.
At the end, I don't know if you felt like this, but I felt like it was kind of, like, rushed.
It was. It did. I felt like maybe they were trying to get to something, and maybe they didn't feel like they were getting there quick enough.
Yeah. But it was like the ending. Oh, we're at the ending. We're there.
Yeah, and they didn't really do any kind of build up with it. It just kind of happened. And it was like, okay, now there's this 200-foot troll. Somehow we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's a cabin. You haven't actually told this woman about the fact that trolls exist, and she doesn't have any reason to believe you. But here you are out in the middle of nowhere, and now there's a troll in the middle of nowhere. Which all the other ones, they had to go and really search for them. Mm-hmm. This one, while I understand it's 200 feet tall, and it shouldn't be very hard to find, it supposedly lives inside the mountain.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't have just been out roaming.
Well, it was before the sun came up.
That's true.
So I think that's why it was roaming.
Also, it had rabies, and it was the one that was infecting all of the other trolls with rabies.
Yeah, it was crazy with rabies. Crazy rabies.
So, and apparently trolls don't foam when they have rabies.
No, they don't. They look pretty normal.
I did like how they actually came up with a way to defeat the trolls that dealt with light. Mm-hmm. And it was either they were going to explode or they're going to turn to stone. Mm-hmm. And with this final one, because of how big it wasn't as easy. Mm-hmm. It was like doses and doses and doses of UV light before finally it turned to stone and fell apart.
So, like, on a cloudy day, could this troll roam about and be just fine? Because...
That's a good question.
Because the sun even came out, and it wasn't enough to turn this troll to stone. And also, if trolls get old enough and large enough, can they withstand the sun?
Well, no. Remember, they had the veterinarian said their body just can't handle it. It can't produce. So the vitamin D that the sun gives it just calcifies everything. It just can't handle the calcium. Doesn't know how to turn that into that. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't think it could handle it if there was like straight up sunlight, even when it gets older. But cloudy day, maybe.
Yeah, I think that troll had some possibilities.
I mean,
some real potential.
They really did their homework in terms of like how they might think a troll would work, because they went and found a veterinarian.
Right.
And the veterinarian had all this info about trolls. I'm like, is this a thing? Do people really get into it that much?
There's probably so much troll lore out there in Norway.
Yeah.
Because why not?
But seriously. So yeah, Celeste, what would you give this movie?
I'm going to give it 5 Christian men out of 3 stalking children.
Stalking?
These kids were stalkers. Remember, they stalked.
They were
the troll hunters.
I'm gonna give this a solid 7 Goldblums.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Wow.
That's a lot of Goldblums. Okay, stop that.
I'm my own Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Wow. Anyways, so obviously you're watching something new. I'm watching something new. For once, we can both talk about something new.
Here, you talk about your something new.
Okay, well, today I had to go home early from work because of a bad decision that I made all week, and it caught up to me. So while laid up on the couch, I watched the entire first season of Everything Sucks, which is a new Netflix original series about kids in high school in the 90s. And it follows these three freshman boys and a sophomore girl dealing with all the angst that a teenager in the 90s would, including one of them figuring out that she's a lesbian, which in the 90s, while they were more accepting, they weren't fully accepting, and they didn't quite understand it. They even talk about in the very first episode how Clinton signed the Defense of Marriage Act, which stated that, it was man and a woman. So they made that very clear. So it was an interesting foyer into explaining, oh, now this girl is feeling like she's a freak and everything, and she goes to a Tori Amos concert, which if you don't know 90s music,
Tori Amos?
Tori Amos was the bad girl of the 90s. That's where all of the people who felt like they were outcasts would go. There's really no equivalent to nowadays. At least I don't know because I don't follow any bands.
I follow bands, but I don't think there's the bad girls anymore.
Well,
I think we have
anyways,
strong ass women leads.
I'm going to say this. The first 3 episodes are rough. And the reason I say they're rough is because it's hard to get into it, hard to connect with these kids. But by the 4th episode, you're hooked. And
is it because they're kids or?
No, it's because the acting was a little rough. It was a little shoddy at the beginning. Definitely the female actor, the one that actually plays the principal's daughter, she is very stiff starting out. But then as her character grows, she grows as an actress. And you see that. And by the end, she is so incredibly powerful. All of these characters just are so, so good. There's so many heartbreaking characters too. Ones that are abused that are just the sweetest characters. Oh, it's so, so good. Really highly. I just can't recommend it more. I mean, they're 30-minute episodes. They're not even full 30-minute episodes. And there's 10 of them. Just watch them. Just sit and watch them. They are incredibly good. So, okay, now you're watching something on Amazon, right?
I am. We don't talk about Amazon Prime a lot because
but we should.
What I've noticed about Amazon Prime is they have shows. They're usually not great about bringing multiple seasons out. They'll just kind of stop. Or I tried to watch the last...
Or they'll promise something and never deliver.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Amazon, for my... What was that show? It's the Van Damme one?
I don't know.
Jean-Claude Van Damme one?
Oh, really yeah, that one. Yeah. But that was a competition between the Tick
and it won.
Oh, and they brought out the Tick anyway?
Yeah.
So Amazon is kind of not the best for your show needs. But they have brought out The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and it got all this hype. It won Golden Globes, and I was like, okay, let's go ahead and try this out. So funny. This woman in the late 1950s, her husband, decides to up and leave for his secretary who can do the shorthand. And and now she embarks on this life of comedy, which is kind of ironic because that was her husband's thing. He was going to be a comedian, but he sucked and he would steal people's acts. But she's genuinely funny. So the night her husband leaves her, she gets drunk and she goes to this comedy club, stumbling in, asking for her Pyrex, because that's how she would get her husband on stage. She would bring a brisket and coax the people to get him on stage. And so she just waltzes up, "Where's my Pyrex?" And then it turns out she's the funniest woman alive.
See, I just hear you listen. I just hear you watching this, and it seems hilarious.
It is hilarious because it's just in this time when people are kind of oh, your husband left you. What did you do? And she's like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, a woman without a man at that time would have been looked like, oh, what's wrong with her? She's damaged goods. Or even the fact that she's going into a fully male driven world. Like comedy in the 50s, there were very few women comics. If
Yeah.
any, I can't even think of any that were like full on stand up. But I mean, I kind of like that conflict.
Right? So she's great. It kind of reminds me of Crashing a little bit, of the HBO series about a similar thing about how his wife was having an affair, but he already wanted to be a comic, so that just kind of pushed him out the door. But that's set in the now, and this is set in the 50s.
You and I were kind of talking about that, how like modern shows right now are constantly starting out with so and so left me, so that means my life is ruined and now I have to build myself back up.
Yeah.
Why is that? Like, why do you think that we always have to set it off with my husband cheated, my wife cheated, they left me, they abandoned me, now I have to start again?
Well, I feel like it's because you need a starting point. You need the point where you snap.
Why can't you just kill off the spouse?
I mean, you could kill them off as well. That's always my plan.
or what
Once
if
you
it's-
die, I'm going to blossom.
Or what? Yeah, probably. Or what? What if like they were never in a relationship and they're just always a giant screw up? Like, why can't you just have that? Why does it always have to be that someone leaves someone, cheats on someone, and now you're
Because
amazing?
it's compelling, and at least the leaving part, it adds to the story on here, because she just literally goes on stage and vents all of her frustrations about Penny, the what was it? She's not a receptionist. I keep wanting to say receptionist. The secretary.
Oh yeah.
Penny, the secretary, and her children, and she admits that she didn't really want to be a mother, but that's what you do in the 50s as a woman. You become a mother and all this other stuff. So, I don't know. It's great. Watch it. I've told a couple other people to watch it, and they're obsessed as well. So, give it a go. Amazon Prime.
I wonder if are there any other shows on Amazon Prime?
I really liked what was it called? It was
was it the Zelda one?
Yeah, it was the one about Zelda Fitzgerald. And it was about her being married to F. Scott Fitzgerald, the writer of The Great Gatsby, and their marriage. And the person that plays Zelda is, oh man, she was a really popular child actress in the 90s. And she was in, like, what was that Sisterhood movie?
Sister of the Traveling Pants?
No, it wasn't that one. The one where it had the 4 girls and it had them reuniting later on in life.
Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood?
Look it up.
I'm looking.
Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. Oh, that's another thing about the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That girl is apparently from House of Cards. I've never seen House of Cards, full disclosure, but I hear it's great. No, it wasn't this one.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Do you remember what the name of the show was?
You know.
Was it called Zelda or was it called something else?
No, here. I can look on my Prime list, though.
Because that's the thing. I don't remember what it was called.
I don't remember what it was called either. It's called The Beginning of Everything, and it's based off of a book.
That's not the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it is. Beginning of Everything.
Oh, you know what? I kept seeing the Z in all of the promotions.
Yeah, no, but it's The Beginning of Everything. And it's the beginning of F. Scott Fitzgerald's career as a writer. It's the beginning of their marriage, which Zelda, she did go crazy. She had to, be institutionalized. This is just Zelda's life. They don't go into that. And I don't know if they're going to come out with the second season, but I really like the first season.
Did you ever watch The Last Tycoon?
I watched the first 2 episodes, and I honestly couldn't really get into it.
That's the lost F. Scott Fitzgerald story, right?
Yeah. So that was the one where
But it's got Kelsey Grammer in it. Now I have to watch it.
So basically, The Last Tycoon is
Wait,
set.
we're completely passing by the point that Kelsey Grammer is in this. I didn't
Yeah.
even know he was still working.
Yeah. So it's set in the 30s. Nazi Germany's taken over, making all of them fire all of their Jewish employees. It's also the Great Depression, so this movie house is on the brink of bankruptcy.
Oh.
And they have to make a great film, and their film guy is a Jewish man, but he also has this heart condition and he could drop dead at any moment. And to top it all off, his wife, the guy with the heart condition, the Jewish movie guru, his wife had passed away a couple years earlier. She was a famous actress in a house fire that left him damaged.
You know, Amazon really loves these period pieces.
I love me a good period piece.
Well, I know that, but like the very first thing that they brought out was that one about, it's like the futuristic Nazi Japan one.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. I remember when it first started coming out, I was King of the High Castle.
Yeah.
When it first started coming out, we watched a few episodes of it. It looked really good. I still haven't tried to catch up with it. I'm curious to do so. But they keep doing that. They keep doing like these very interesting period pieces. It's like maybe it's like something that's easy. I don't think it's easy. I think that's difficult.
Right? Because in a modern setting, you're like, oh, we already have everything. No problem. But that's so much extra work to go find the settings.
And doing the research, too.
Yeah.
Especially when you have something like F. Scott Fitzgerald. That means it's a lot of research.
Yeah.
It's like doing The Crown. Like The Crown is probably a very difficult thing to write because you got to do it historically accurate. You have to make sure that you play this well because someone's still alive.
Someone that we know. The queen.
Two people.
The queen is alive and her family is alive. All the people are alive. And it's still kind of scandalous, which is what I love because it tells all the scandals of Prince Philip, who was a little scandalous boy.
Exactly. I'm really starting to love how the digital shows that are coming out are really going beyond. They're not keeping it to the normal, like, oh, here's a sketch comedy show, here's a sitcom, and here's a drama. No, they go for it. They really, really try to put something in it. I am holding out hope that one day there will be a Pushing Daisies show again. Like, it'll come back.
I honestly hear such good things about it, and I did try to watch it once, but it was when we first started dating, so I was like, Leonard, you're so stupid. So I think I'd like to give that another go.
You know what? We'll give that a go. We're going to give that a go, and next time, hopefully, you'll have at least watched a couple episodes, and you'll know how you feel about it. Well, I think that's good for today. This was a quick episode, but you know what? Sometimes we're going to give you quick episodes.
And I'm hungry.
And we're hungry, and we're going to go find Alina and go have sushi.
We're going to go find her because who knows where she is.
That's true.
Asleep again?
Probably. All right, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, whatever time of the day it is where you are. Thank you so much to Trevor's mom for always standing behind your son.
Thank you for supporting us, Trevor's mom.
And, for supporting us. And thank you to Celeste.
I live here.
Yay! All right, everyone. We will talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Doodles.